Welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens and Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We got to start with the New England Patriots. They're the only team right now that's going to be playing in the next couple of weeks. Actually, they open up 9/11, September 11th, against the Dolphins. Boys, they're down to 80 players. Dalton Keene cut just another third round, fourth round, second round bust. And when we say bust, fellas, we mean never contributed at all.
Nothing.
Yeah, he was hurt every year. Every year. He was IR'd every year.
And Russ, you can't have that.
Something like that, the new linebacker that they signed last year, the free agent. He's back on IR for the rest of the year now, too.
Russ, you can't have it.
No, we praise Belichick, for manipulating these drafts and getting extra picks and moving down. And then he doesn't make anything out of those picks. So what did you get out of it, right? Like it's just you can't miss on second, third, and fourth round picks. And the reason why they've had to go out and spend a lot of money last year in free agency is because they didn't hit in their drafts.
Yeah.
And they gave up, Joe, 3 fourth round. I forgot this deal. They gave up 3 fourth round picks and a 6th round pick to go up and get Dalton Keene. And you can't ruin drafts like that.
Yeah, usually third round picks, they pick sure things. Second round picks, they use to take wild gambles on. They've always have, but third rounders, they go for the sure things usually, and that never panned out.
Yeah, Joe,
I don't remember him even on the field.
Joe, do you think maybe we could have used a sure thing guard or a sure thing center in the third round right now?
Oh, well, they seem to be all right on interior linemen, other than.
That's Russ's point. That's a great point, Russ. Because if you make a good pick as a guard, then you don't have to get Cole Strange in this draft.
That's exactly right.
Go get under Kobe Dean.
Exactly right.
The question of linebacker. One bad move leads to make-up moves. We've seen that for our whole lifetime with the Red Sox. They don't re-sign a guy, then they have to go out and spend more money on another guy.
But again, that's every team. The draft is a crapshoot. You're drafting 20-year-old kids, and you're wondering how they're instantly going to become men and professionals. It doesn't happen all the time.
It doesn't happen all the time. We just had a probably 2 to 3 year stretch, Joe.
Yeah. That
has left us really undermanned. Like we just do not have enough good players right now.
Yeah, and we were robbing Peter to pay Paul the last couple of years of Brady.
Right.
And trading away all our draft picks. That year they traded for Keene. What did they get? Keene and Asiasi and 2 crappy tackles that never panned out. That was it for their draft.
But you have to have these guys be on the field. And that's the problem there is no middle ground here. Winovich played somehow. He actually took snaps, guys like that. We're talking about guys that nothing. The Jawan Williams of the world, the second round pick.
Brutal.
Or that second round pick years ago out of Virginia that Al Groh told them to
Dowling. Yeah. Rousey, Dowling. And then all of a sudden, today they put Ronnie Perkins on the IR.
Yeah.
He was on the IR last year. That's part of professional football. guys get hurt and they get hurt bad.
No, they're just stashing him. They don't know what else to do with him.
Right. They don't want to cut him.
Yeah,
and
they don't want to
can't
give him
keep
to another
active.
team.
Right.
Because if he was any kind of player and he could be back in 7, they're not going to do that with Thornton. It appears. They're going to keep Thornton on the 50-man 3-man.
Yeah, but Thornton could be back in a couple of weeks.
No, he has a broken collarbone, so he's not.
Yeah, and I've seen many football players come back in 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks tops. I know he's small and they'd like to give him a little more, but broken collarbone at his age, that's a 3-weeker.
Russ, he looks like a guy who just running on the field would break his collarbone. He said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it didn't get any play. I thought the play he got injured on was unnecessary by Carolina. He got stopped. 4 guys at least got him. Watch the scrum that happens well after the whistle. They get him in a scrum. They drive him 4 yards into the backfield, and then a big fatty lands on him, and completely unnecessary. It's not gotten any play, but I saw it live, and I'm like, why did that happen?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and this is an exhibition game.
I don't think we'll be seeing Carolina anymore.
No, I've had enough of Carolina. That was a bad idea. By the way, that's on Belichick. That was a bad idea. I bet you don't see any funny business happening with McDaniels this week and the Raiders and fights and stuff.
No, that coach of Carolina, Matt
Rule.
That there's no excuse for that safety.
Those college coaches are a bunch of assholes.
Yep.
They're all are.
That turned out to be a bad decision by Belichick, because normally he keeps it in the family. He keeps it with the Giants,
the
he
Titans,
keeps it with Tennessee and Mike Vrabel. And he went outside the family, and that did not go well. That was an underrated bad decision by Belichick.
Yeah, that's a great point, because day 1 was shitty and day 2 was even shittier.
Yeah.
Which means that he could not get to his team also, but he couldn't go talk to Matt Rule and say, this second practice, we've got to be fire boys.
Right. You don't need a team proving themselves, like a downtrodden team and a second-year coach who's fighting for his job coming up to Foxborough to prove themselves to the NFL by getting frisky with the Patriots. What are we doing
in the preseason?
It's a practice.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
How much do you guys read into this whole the way they evaluate practices now and these scrimmages and stuff? It feels such overvaluation of them.
Yeah,
they love these combined practices.
But the media,
because they get to see them one-on-one.
No, Scotty, I think you're referring to the media breaking down plays and one-on-ones, and that's like a reporter breaking down film who's not had access to the room and to the game planning, where they're guessing at what the intention of the play or the drill was. And sometimes the intention of the play or the drill is not what anyone would understand other than someone who's deeply on the inside, and it's being graded. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, even one-on-ones, you might be comparing apples and oranges. A starter might be trying to improve on a certain technique where the guy facing him might be fighting for a job, and he's just it's apples and oranges. They're two different goals.
Yeah, sports is trying to make every day a Super Bowl. I mean, that the summer league in the NBA, which is a lower grade than
it's a joke.
G League, and it's not even the quality of garbage time in the NBA.
The Maine Celtics would clean up in there.
No, but Scotty, it's a great point. It's a great analogy. It's even worse in the NBA because now they have these pro-ams, right? Where these guys go play a pickup game that's televised. And last year we were getting reports about how Peyton Pritchard scored 65 in a pro-am.
No, like 90.
Yeah.
90 points or something.
He'd go down to get on a Canton High School in the hoop down there and dominate for 3 hours and score 150 points. It doesn't tell you anything about how he's going to do in the playoffs next year.
Or even make the team.
Yeah. Right.
Sports writers.
I totally agree. These guys are desperate for. The other thing that's just been interesting to watch And look, by the way, I don't know what I'm going to pick the Patriots as. I'm probably not going to pick them to win more than half their games. But these guys are desperate for the Patriots to be bad this year. They are frothing at the mouth for the Patriots to be bad, and they can
plenty
spend
of copy.
Oh my God, 17 weeks ragging on Belichick. They are dying for this opportunity.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I really do believe that they're calling for Bill's head is the best storyline for them.
The easiest thing they can write. It's just like being on vacation. It would be like being on vacation all season.
They're going to create that whole Kraft Belichick soap opera
dynamic.
But also, look, there's media that like us that love Mac Daddy, and then there's parts of the media that for some reason hate Mac Daddy.
Right.
I think probably Brady guys do that, and they want to rag on Mac Jones so badly.
Yep. Yeah, they're dying. They're just dying. You know, they've had so many years of good news where, you know, or good outcomes where they've questioned Belichick during the year and Belichick wins a title and then jams it down their throat. And then they've had a couple of mediocre years. But man, I got to tell you, if the Patriots go like 5-12 this year, this sports radio in this town is going to be on fire. It is going to be every freaking Yahoo calling up, and these guys are going to make it look like, you know, the Hindenburg went down, for God's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess when they look at their ratings, guys, the negatives
absolutely
are higher ratings than the positives.
Negativity drives the ratings.
And so, you know, and they still talk about Brady. He hasn't been on the team in 3 years.
Yep.
Won a title. He's moved on, but those knuckleheads still have.
Yep. That's exactly
right. Because the Brady fanboys move the needle. All you got to do is mention his name, and the call screen, you know, lights up with 1 million calls about how they miss Tom.
Tom Curran must miss giving Brady the massages every day. Oh my God, I used to respect that guy, but oh my God, doesn't matter what Brady does. Literally, he has to defend him. And just so you know, this breaking news from the Grandstanders live desk: Tom Brady has finally come back to the team after taking a 2-week vacation to go to the Bahamas.
Can you imagine?
He just left.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
What is that?
He's just testing the boundaries. I think he thinks he's above the game. He's above, like, he is in a different class than everybody, which in some ways he is. I mean, he's in a different class than everyone who's ever played the game in one respect. But man, that has got to be tough on a team. I'm sorry. Like, that just is not cool.
Yeah, he didn't win the parking space.
How do you practice without the most important player on the team who's healthy? How do you practice without him?
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to be Roger Clemens and just.
I get it, and I'm sure it was pre-approved and stuff, but just to have the gall to get up in the middle of a training camp when all these guys are working out in 95, 100-degree heat with 90% humidity, and go because you promised your wife and your family that you'd go to the Bahamas for a week with them in August before you unretired, and
then you also just drove the current head coach, out and put your own guy in, and then you leave him hanging.
Yeah, no, I mean,
can you imagine how humid it is in Tampa at this time of year?
I mean, look, nothing can ever take away what he did here. Period. Full stop. Yeah. Like, gave us a lifetime of memories. But I'm glad we're over it. I'm just glad we don't have to look at that every day.
Yeah.
It's enough. I've had enough.
Yeah, he's Tom Cruise. I told you that many years ago.
Yep.
He's trending in that Tom Cruise, and it's going to get weirder and weirder.
Full-blown weirdo.
And I just
has he been seen at Scientology meetings?
Russ, I know
full-blown weirdo.
Russ, you know what I mean when I say nobody contrives a swear word more than Tom Brady.
Oh my God, yeah, no kidding.
Oh my God, he's like a person who's never sworn before.
Yeah,
the way he says it. Oh, I can't stand it. Oh my God, I actually can't stand him talking. And now he apparently threw the whole Dana White. He was going to go to L.A.
Yeah,
I mean,
he couldn't wait to get out of New England so that he could do all of this stuff unapologetically. Like, A, wouldn't have gotten away with it here, but B, doesn't even have to apologize to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like he wanted to wear a dress. He wanted to be himself and
Yeah.
cross dress, do whatever he wanted. He knew he had to behave here, and then he knew
Yeah.
once he goes to Florida,
Yep.
all
All
bets
bets
are
are
off.
off. They'll be so grateful to have him, and he brought him what they wanted. He brought him a title. I just don't know how this year is going to go for him. I don't know.
And the difference.
Well, they are in the worst division in all of football. That's pathetic. Atlanta, the Saints are shell of themselves with Peyton gone, and Carolina. That's the crappiest division in
Yeah,
football.
no, it's all going to be a matter of what happens in the playoffs, right, Joe? And
Yeah.
he played a good game last year, but they didn't have enough last year, and I'm not sure how he thought they would have better this year. They don't look any better to me.
They look
Gronk's
worse.
gone, the center's gone. Godwin's coming off an injury. Evans is a year older. I think it's gonna be tough.
Well, all you had to do is we have these beautiful parades. They're just something out of the movies with the duck boats and going through the great streets. And he's drunk off his ass on a boat, throwing the
Yahooville. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yahooville. Yep,
yeah, that's the
Yahoos.
difference. That's where
Yeah.
right there. That's the one little video example of where he's
Right.
gone. But
Up here, that would have been Gronk's job.
we're moving on. Mac Daddy, for how we had drafted him at the 15th pick in the draft, how we acquired him, and how he played and showed great promise last year. I think we're in a great position.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys feel like this is a transition year and that they're kind of making a short-term sacrifice, at least for the first, 4 to 8 games this year, Joe, putting in this new system that should be simpler in the long run for guys to pick up? Do you get a sense where, Bill's sitting there saying, I don't know, if I go 9-8 this year, 8-9, it's not the worst thing in the world because I need to set ourselves up moving forward? Or do you think, no, they want to win 12 games?
Oh, I'm sure he'd like to win 12 games, but he's realistic about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's more, I think it'll be a big difference from last year where they were run dominating. For at least the first third of the year, the offensive line will be still great at pass blocking. So that's what they'll do. They'll stick Mac in the shotgun and let him pick defenses apart. Now it's going to take a while to catch on to this zone blocking scheme for the offensive line, and that's when the weather turns bad. They'll probably
interesting.
start
So
running.
you think they're gauging the running game for the second half of the year, and if they can hold on and go 4-4 or something like that up front with a one-armed offense, he'll do that. It's interesting. I hadn't heard that, but that makes sense to me.
This is just something I've been thinking about, and I think that Mac has plenty of weapons now. When I look around, when I see the wideouts, they might not be all pros, but you got enough of them. And with Montgomery and Stevenson and Harris in the backfield catching balls, I think Jonnu Harris, now that there's no fullback, is going to have a lot more to do with the offense.
Smith. Yeah,
Jonnu Smith. Yeah, is going to have a lot more to do with this offense playing H-back than he did last year as the inline tight end. You could even see like, I love if they would. I hope that little Jordan Humphreys makes a team. You could see kind of like a 3 tight end offense down in the red zone with him.
Right.
Oh, Joe, yeah.
He's a wideout, but look at the size
Chandler. No, I'm not buying any of that stuff. I dream about that every year, that we're going to have some 3 monster big guys.
You won't get burned again?
Never
Scott, because his name was Scott. That's what
it never happened.
You can't live it down.
But I do think that nobody talks about Jonnu Smith, Joe, and that's a great point. Hopefully he has a breakout season.
Because they don't have a fullback this year, so he will be the fullback. You'll see him leading running backs as the H-back.
Yeah, and then, he can come out of the backfield. But, yeah, he's a key weapon that nobody talks about. But, yeah, he has to contribute. And Devontae Parker, that's going to be fun to watch, right?
Well, that's why I'm saying a tight end. You put him in the backfield like in a 22 setup. He's in the backfield with, say, Harris or Stevenson down on the goal line, and you got Jonnu Smith and little Jordan Humphreys. He's 6'4". He's 6'4" as a wide receiver. He's a big target. And the defense won't know if they're going to run or pass.
I know. Well, obviously we're going to see a lot more wrinkles. Russ, it's going to be a lot different watching this offense because it seems like we grew up and got old with Josh McDaniels.
I think we should send this tape to Belichick and have Joe go for Ernie Adams' old job. Like Joe's got this thing figured out, and Joe's the new Ernie Adams.
That's just from watching and reading. That's just the way I get the feeling that they're going to go.
Joe, you would totally be the ghost whisperer. Oh my God!
Yeah, right?
Joe, seriously, Joe.
There'd be nothing I could say that he didn't already know. That's for sure.
But you could go on Indeed and see if there's a job opening. You never know, but Joe, you'd be excellent.
And you need to get some of those polyester shorts and a golf shirt, Joe. You'll be in.
yeah, right. Well, boys, look, to me, the weakest position in this team, the position I worry about the most, and I've been talking about it for a long time, is linebacker. And again, they get that small guy, Tavari, whatever his name. Oh my God, with the long hair and stuff. Are they serious? This guy
and that Mac Wilson, he's a middle linebacker.
He doesn't even look like a special teamer. He's going to be getting major snaps in the linebacker. That's a very bad team if that guy's out there.
Well, the word out of camp is that Bentley seems to be playing better.
The captain.
Yeah, he seems to be playing better. Look, I agree. That seems to be the weak spot, and because they really got hammered last year in their ability to track guys down and cover sideline to sideline. Teams really lit them up. So that they've got to get improvement from those linebackers somewhere. And if it's Bentley getting better at his job, that's great. I'm all for it.
I mean, we have waited so long for Bentley.
We loved that guy at the beginning.
He's
remember,
the leader.
We were waving the Bentley flag at the very beginning, and then he kind of disappointed us for a couple of years.
Yeah, he was the stiff. But even Judon calls him Bent. Bent is our leader. He's the captain. He's the boss.
The kind of wishful thinking, Joe, I think, in the sense that everyone knows they need a middle linebacker to swallow up tackles. You think that Bentley would be that kind of guy, and he just hasn't been it.
Oh, he's not Micah Parsons, and he's never going to be that guy.
No, well, Michael Parsons. Parsons is, he could go down. Top 10 linebacker.
You and Bill Belichick both wanted him in that.
Oh, I love Parsons, but I would still take Mac Daddy over Parsons.
So far, Parsons has had a far superior career.
Well, he's 1 year, Joe, and they're different positions, but Parsons has.
Oh, it's a position you can be dominant from the get-go, whereas Mac, if he's in the top 15 quarterbacks next year, we'll consider that.
Russ, would you rather have Parsons or Jones right now?
What?
Russ.
Oh, I'd much rather have Mac Jones. I just think you're dead without a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, who would be playing quarterback right now if the Patriots didn't draft Mac Jones and they drafted Micah Parsons? Who would be our quarterback?
Joe, who would be quarterback right now?
Bailey Zappi?
No, probably like one of these.
Maybe Jimmy G.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, all right, Jimmy G. All right, now all of a sudden you perked my interest.
So, Scotty, would you rather have Micah Parsons and Jimmy G, or Mac Jones and
Juwan Bentley?
And Mac Jones and like Christian Barmore.
Oh, Mac Jones and Christian Barmore. Yeah, absolutely, no question.
Right.
Oh, right, because you're right, because you would have given up the second round pick. Right.
Yeah.
Perfect sense. Well, I think Barmore is going to be a monster, unless. The problem last year, halfway through the season, they figured out we're just going to double team Judon because he's killing us, and the rest of the. But will they be doing with Barmore, and will the other linemen step up? We're getting.
Well, that's the boon to the linebackers. If two men take on the defensive tackle, that means there's two gaps open for them to shoot through.
Are they good enough? This is really this is the weakest linebacking core, I think, in the history of the Patriots.
Oh, last year was worse, I think.
Well, no. I mean, they had guys. They had Hightower. They had Van Noy. They had Collins in the middle.
Those guys were decrepit. My problem with them is they had no athleticism. All those guys were done. Van Noy, Collins, and Hightower all lost their athleticism over in the off season, and they had nothing left, right? They just had nothing left.
That being said, the door I think is still open for Hightower. They haven't given out his number, and they haven't given away his locker.
Yeah, they could do a
junior prime locker, the number one locker in the room.
They could do a junior stay out thing with Hightower in week 8 or week 10 if they're in the playoff race and they need a body. That's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But like, I would just much rather see them throw these guys out there who at least are more athletic
and learn
and see if you can't train them up in your defense and see if they can start making plays.
Yeah, learn the hard way, by getting beat out there.
Yeah.
You correct your mistakes.
More guys. Perkins, like we talked about, gone. He's never going to contribute. We know he's never going to contribute ever. McGrone sucks. Gone. Never going to contribute. Again, another,
Well, but here's, look, I could go on for days about how bad Belichick has been at evaluating players. That being said, like, apparently Jennings, who we would have written off, like, that guy was written off coming into this camp, has been very good this camp. Right. So that's good. Uche seems to be kind of hanging in there. We'll see. He could get a breakthrough. So, if guys like that hit, you've got a shot.
Yeah. Right. It is, they're breaking the mold of the old. It used to be all the Patriot linebackers were 250, 260 pounds and big guys. Now they're all 225, 230.
The guys that you mentioned, Russ, have been in the system for a couple of years and have contributed nothing when they were healthy. Nothing. Now we're asking players who have contributed nothing to then play full seasons, playoffs and stuff, and have 100+ tackles. And I don't know. How does that?
Yeah, it's a lot to Joe's point. Like, that's why I think this is a bit of I don't want to say that they will kiss off the entire year, but I think he's willing to suffer some defeats in the first 6-7 games this year so that he's got better athletes and a better system set up to get him. Because I think he just took a look at his system and his players at the end of last year, and he had nothing. He had a bunch of old guys trying to play man-to-man defense and couldn't do it.
Right.
That team just quit after the bye.
They just had nothing. But I think, Joe, they quit, but they also, they had a bunch of old non-athletes who wore down. They had nothing left. Judon said in off season, I wore down. I wasn't ready for a full season.
Duggar and Phillips were making all the tackles.
Yeah,
that the linebackers were supposed to be making.
Yeah, that was.
Look how many. Van Noy's got a job, I guess, in San Diego. Does Collins even have a job? Hightower's out of the NFL. Like, these guys were barely, they were living off their reputation last year.
Yeah.
Just a side note: J.C. Jackson, who signed with the Chargers for Big Doe, just had an ankle surgery.
Yeah, I just had surgery.
Yeah.
Sometimes when fellas get paid, all of a sudden the injuries start to come. You sure he didn't play for the Boston Red Sox?
I have to say, I'm looking forward to seeing all those Jones kids play defensive back. That's going to be kind of fun to watch. Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Jonathan Jones.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. They may get beat a lot, but they at least seem to be really good athletes.
Well, McCourty said he thought that the Patriots had a good draft. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. My issue is not this last year's draft. It's the drafts before that, really. Yeah.
Cole Strange has turned out to be, looks like going to be just a mainstay at guard and going to be.
Yeah, for the next 10 years. He's there.
So I have no problem when you draft. Remember, it was late in the first round. When you're going to get a starter for 10 years, I don't care what position it is.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And it fills in. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have to worry about that, and you can focus on the rest of the team. All right, boys, we go to the train wreck that is the Boston Red Sox. Look, they're trending. They're going to be a last place team. This year has been unacceptable. Obviously, they've had injuries, and we have to understand that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of injuries that have hurt the team. I would say that the Trevor Story injury really hurt this team too. But Heimblum gets an F for the 2022 season. Is that unquestionable?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chaim has done this franchise a disservice. And even if you accept the fact that the owners have constrained him financially. So let's just accept the fact that the owners have said to him, you got to try to keep this thing below the luxury threshold. So you got to trade Mookie. And he felt compelled to, and let's just even say that he felt compelled to trade Andrew Benintendi and Renfroe for some reason. Even if you just accept the fact that he felt compelled to do that, the return on those trades is unacceptably bad. Just really bad, like really, really harmful to the major league team. You should have gotten way more than Verdugo. He misevaluated those guys. Verdugo, Downs, and Wong, right? Then you look at for Benintendi, Franchi Cordero is not a major league player. He's no position. Winkowski is a mop-up man, and they got three minor leaguers.
He's a minor league pitcher. Winkowski's got to spend another year or two in the minors.
He doesn't have another pitch. He's got one pitch. He doesn't miss bats.
Yeah.
Right. And Renfroe, they got JBJ, who they cut in two minor leaguers. Maybe one of those guys pops, right? That is unacceptable. Like, he needs to be way better. That system needs to be way better at evaluating for guys that you're trading.
Okay, I'm going to answer.
Period.
Look, first of all, he did a great job last year. The 21, as far as he got this team to close to the World Series.
He hit on Kike Hernandez last year.
Yeah. The
totally
Benintendi deal, I have literally no problem with. Benintendi stunk. He replaced Benintendi with Renfroe. Renfroe was cheaper. Renfroe had an incredible season. They try to get 5-3 prospect. I don't mind that deal at all. Benintendi's terrible. So you're absolutely dead on about the Mookie Betts. When you see what the Nationals got for Soto,
unbelievable,
top kid prospects, and we got average Alex Verdugo and Jeter Downs, who was supposed to be the best prospect in that deal, is nothing. And Wong at best.
Just a misevaluation.
Wong will always be a AAA player. Never be a
I mean, he's made some good, bringing in Renfroe, fantastic. Waka was fantastic. Schreiber has been really good. Yeah. Obviously, Garrett Whitlock. So it's not like he's striking out everywhere he goes, but this major league team, he has not helped this major league team at all.
He does better with major league bargain bin type guys than he does evaluating minor league guys. The minor league guys that he's traded for have all been garbage.
Because there's no expectation, Joe. So Walker pitches well, great. If not, they just throw him back in the trash pile.
Right.
That's easy for Chaim because he doesn't come under great scrutiny. It's the big deal. The Hunter Renfroe deal is that's
just a disaster. That Renfroe deal and that Mookie deal are disastrous for this team.
Yes, right. The Renfroe
disastrous.
Deal, right. I agree. Mookie Betts would look pretty good on this team. If Mookie Betts is on the team last year, we probably win a World Series. So you can say.
How did we trade Mookie Betts, who is an MVP candidate, and not get the two of the top three prospects in the Dodgers system?
I know.
How does that happen? And they could sit there and say, well, he was only signed for one more year. He signed what? It took 3 weeks to re-sign with the Dodgers?
Yeah, he signed an extension right away.
The face of Major League Baseball now. Mookie Betts is the face of it.
It's ridiculous.
Boston, when did Boston get rid of big stars? We have big stars.
Scotty, you've been saying this for the whole point of Major League Baseball is you identify, you live and die with these prospects. You follow these process through low A, high A, double A, triple A, majors, the hard years at the beginning of you live with these guys for 5-6 years. And they break through. And the whole point of Major League Baseball is that you re-sign those guys. That's what you do. And the Red Sox did it back in 1980 when they let Freddie Lynn go?
Oh.
Right? 1980, they let Fisk go. I mean, the most wounded I think I ever was in my entire Red Sox fandom was when they let Fisk and Lynn walk in consecutive years.
And shortstop too.
Burlington,
yeah. I mean, how do you develop a guy in Major League Baseball and then let him walk and you get crap back?
And those were all their draftees. Those three, Fisk, Burleson, and Len were all their draft
Yeah,
teams.
and same as Mookie. And how do you let Mookie Betts walk? And how do you get like literally 40 cents on the dollar for Mookie Betts?
If that, and really nothing. I mean, Jeter.
You should have gotten 120 cents on the dollar. The Nationals got 120 cents on the dollar for Juan Soto.
Yeah, because was there any other team bidding? I mean, I assume there's a lot of teams that wanted Mookie Betts. That was the best deal you can get.
Ridiculous.
I feel like sometimes they get very lazy. The GMs get very lazy and kind of, I've said this about Belichick, seems to take with like the Shaq Mason deal. Whoever offered something with the Gilmore deal. Yeah. Oh, you want to give us a 6th-round pick? I don't have to make any more phone calls. Perfect. Let's ship him out. That was reactive. Right. Heim Bloom. How do you live that down?
You don't. It's ultimately it's gonna be the thing that gets him fired, right? Because you're gonna once Wong's a backup catcher and Jeter Downs doesn't make it, and Verdugo is a 3.5 outfielder. He's a 3rd outfielder at best. Once people really realize that, and the Dodgers go and win another World Series, and Mookie's the MVP of the World Series, people are going to lose their flipping minds around here.
I agree with you.
And you guys downplay that Benintendi trade, but he'd be the best outfielder on the team right now.
No, Joe, he's trash.
And
he was at the bottom.
What they got for him was all trash.
Their problem is that they traded him at the nadir of his value. He had nothing, he had no value. He had come off a horrible year.
Let's get off the Benintendi.
No, it's a third. It's not the best example, but the other two are inexcusable, if you ask me.
How many home runs does Renfroe have this year? Isn't he above 30?
Yeah, he was definitely like over 20. Yeah, I mean, but there was no reason for it. Nobody was telling you to trade Renfroe, and then he traded him right before they closed up shop.
And didn't even save money. He lost money on the deal.
Look. And I think, Russ, you make a great point. What's going to happen is this is continuing to build, and we know that what it does in Boston with the media. But the rest of this year is going to be ragging on Heim. That's okay. And then all of a sudden, like you said, there's the playoffs and the World Series, and Mookie Betts is all we do is see Mookie Betts for a month, and that was supposed to be that's our Mookie. He could get fired at the end of the
It's possible. They're going to have to. This whole thing's going to come down to Xander and Devers, right? The whole future of the franchise right now is going to rest on Xander and Devers, and they're clearly okay with letting Xander walk. I mean, Xander's most likely going to walk, and they'll get nothing back other than a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
I think they will, and I'm afraid they should make a deal with Xander that, hey, go test the market. No one's going to pay him $30 million. No one. He's going to he's going to get, at best, he'll get a story-like deal.
I think they're both going to resign with the Red Sox. I don't think.
I hope so.
I also think
hope so.
Xander has not played very well this season, that his market has dropped.
Yeah.
He's much more valuable to the Red Sox. Remember, it starts at $20 million, and it's going to, the Red Sox, I'm sure, are willing to pay him 25. So you'd have to go 30. I don't know if any team's going to see.
There isn't a team out there that will give him 30.
Remember, Texas might have helped us out. Texas fired their GM, their president, their ball boy, the water boy the last few weeks, all because of those signings that they had in the offseason. They spent a shit ton of money, and it hasn't worked out. A GM and a president's going to look, we signed Xander to big money, and all of a sudden we're 51 and 63. My ass is gone too.
Yeah.
And
we'll see. If it turns out that he walks and that they didn't have either the guts to sign him or the guts to trade him, and he just literally walks, and you got nothing back for the second biggest star in the last 10 years for the Red Sox, like Mookie, how do you even begin to defend that as a franchise? How do you defend that to your fans?
And again, homegrown talent too.
Homegrown talent.
Nice kid.
16 years old, they signed him. Again, if they had decided that, to your point, he's not going to be worth 25 a year or 30 a year for 5 years or 6 years, and They were decisive about that, and they traded him at the deadline for real players, right?
Yep.
Prospects. I would have respected that.
Me
What
too.
I won't respect is if they come out and they do their kabuki dance and lowball him, and he walks away to a big market team, and once again we got nothing. And so at that point in time, you would have lost your 2 best homegrown players, 2 of your 3 best, and the total return for that would be Verdugo, Downs, Wong, in a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
And then you have Bob Haller do a story on the front page saying that Xander Bogaerts likes his marijuana.
Yeah, whatever. Well, however they diminish him, that's what they'll do. Right?
Oh, they'll attack
Mookie
him on the defensive front.
Right. Mookie doesn't want to be in Boston, right? He doesn't like Boston, right?
Yeah.
Mookie doesn't like. Mookie told Alex Spear in the All-Star game, he's like, I would have signed that contract in Boston if they'd offered it to me.
Yeah.
Of course he wants to be in Boston. He loves playing for the Red Sox. Look at Vasquez. All he has to see is Vasquez. Vasquez, who's been terrible and been a backup catcher for the Astros, pines to be back in Boston.
Yeah,
Literally,
he'll probably be back.
He could be back.
Yeah,
he'll probably be back.
No. But no, I don't think Heim
This new guy would be a great backup. They could split the duties and they wouldn't be wearing out either one.
Yeah, right. And look, let's just go player by player, position by position. Casas got to be your first baseman.
Yes.
Opening the season.
Yes.
You cannot have this amount.
Oh, on that note, Casas, I was read an article with Casas last week, and when he was doing his rehab down in Single A, he says that kid they signed out of the Dominican this year, the 18-year-old, is the real deal. He's Mookie all over again.
Yeah, Rafaela.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Lyle or something.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Casas. I'm not about his talent evaluation. Casas has got to be your first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Second baseman is Trevor Story.
Yep.
Shortstop is Xander Bogaerts. Third base is Rafael Devers.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that, then I feel like that is a World Series type infield.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're
in a World Series with that.
That's plenty, right? Yeah. But now you need 2 outfielders.
So if you re-sign Vasquez, which and then all of a sudden, are you guys happy with that team?
You need 2 outfielders. I never want to see Jaron Duran play another effing game for the Red Sox.
No, I'm talking about infield catcher.
Will Kiki, come back from a hip? You know what I'd like? Right off the bat, trade that Hosmer guy. Trade him back to Kansas City. You're not paying anything. See if you can get a prospect or something for him.
You need a stud right fielder. You need to have the best. Obviously, you're not going to get Judge, but you need the second best free agent on the market to play right field for the Bucs.
You got to make an offer to Judge, if no other reason, to make the Yankees pay 40, 45.
Scotty, the infield is World Series quality.
Yeah,
you've got to get a catcher. Vasquez would be fine, and Verdugo's a third outfielder. You can put him in right or left. I don't care, whatever you want to do. You need 2 outfielders. And remember, we need a DH.
Yeah,
we need a DH, right? And because that guy is done. JD is done. DONE done. And by the way, the other bad mistake, and at least I was calling for it, I think the show was sign Schwarber and get rid of JD Martinez.
You called for it. You're right.
That would have been your DH right there, and you fill in the outfield,
and
you fill in first base.
Here's a guy in Kyle Schwarber who's a baller, right? Doesn't complain, comes in midseason, has an injury, mashes. Everyone loves him. And JD Martinez, God love him, and he's played well. He's had a very good career with the Red Sox. Great signing, right? But as soon as something's off by 3 degrees, JD just doesn't want to hit me. Like he can't hit anymore unless he can watch his videos in between innings, or he's in trade rumors and he's upset, or he doesn't like to play the field. He's like a thoroughbred, right? And friggin' Kyle Schwarber is a Clydesdale who's just going to go out and gut it out every goddamn day of the week. And that's who you chose to sign.
Heim does not know how to utilize his assets because you re-signed Schwarber.
Yeah.
And then you
trade JD Martinez.
JD Martinez for the prospects that he loves.
Yeah.
It was
or for a freaking right fielder.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
And
right?
this year, Martinez has played. I don't even remember him playing the field one game.
He hasn't played an inning in the field this year.
Yeah.
Not an
Completely
inning.
useless. Yeah.
You know, if you had signed Schwarber, traded JD for a right fielder, we'd be fine. I bet you we'd be right in the middle of a playoff race.
No, if you signed Schwarber, kept Renfro, I don't know why the light was shining on him to
Right.
me, and then traded JD for some bullpen help.
Yeah.
You could have got.
It's just not good. I have no confidence in Chaim Bloom. I just don't have any.
They
I
have
just
so
think
many holes. It's not just, if everything goes as planned, they're still short the two outfielders. They're
That's right.
still short two starters. They're still short 3 arms in the bullpen. There's a lot more holes than he can fix.
Does I think the season ends, the World Series is like November 3rd, November 4th. Is Chaim Bloom fired by November 15th?
no.
Oh no.
And the only way I could see Chaim getting canned would be if Cora went to the owners and said, no one in our locker room has any confidence in general management in the front office. And so it's him or me. And I think it would be hard for this team because Cora is a very popular manager. And I don't think Chaim Bloom has too many friends in Boston right now.
That might have already happened when Chaim
Maybe.
had to fly out to Kansas City there
Maybe.
after the deadline and when the team was in revolt.
Well, Shaughnessy mentions, and I don't ever quote Shaughnessy because I don't like him, but I will mention that he said about 45% of, since 2012, the Red Sox teams have been finished in last place.
Yeah.
So that's
that's the problem. They ripped our hearts out for decades, but they were in contention every year. This is ridiculous. How do you go from a team that has 2 wins from a World Series to 6.5 games out of the wild card?
Yeah.
And by the way, with a higher salary and in the luxury tax. I mean, Chaim's biggest mistake is the fact that we're looking at all this and somehow at the trade deadline, he managed to put them into the tax.
Yeah.
He put them into the tax.
So they couldn't reset this year. And then if they wanted to spend down the line, they could. Make a real run.
I felt like
he is learning on the job. He was never a major league. We are dealing with a rookie major league GM in Boston, Massachusetts.
He was an assistant to an assistant. The guy out at the Dodgers was the real deal.
How about we do this? Let's not hire any more managers who haven't been the guy somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's why they went with Dombrowski after Cherington, and Dombrowski worked out. He got, and then starting to show that all the top prospects the Red Sox have right now, Dombrowski's the one who drafted most of them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was ignoring.
Well, let's be fair. The scouts do the drafting, not the GMs. The GMs don't have a clue.
It's under his leadership, Joe.
It's under his leadership. And these guys think they pulled Theo Epstein out of their arse in 2003. And they think that they can do that again and again. And it didn't work with Cherington. I mean, I guess 2013 is sort of Cherington, and it's not working with Chaim Bloom.
Yeah. Cherington's still a GM, albeit the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he's still got a job in baseball.
Look, sometimes it does feel like they're much more interested in having Bill Burr be in concerts at Fenway and James Taylor and opening the MGM Music Hall there. They want to be an entertainment center, and they forget about who's the main.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure John Henry's just as happy with James Taylor or Bill Burr there. That's it. He goes for a night out, sits in his box.
Yeah,
he's entertained.
He needs to be more interested in Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers and stuff. We're going to be talking about this. We could talk about the Red Sox forever, but we got to talk about dessert. The dessert menu. We're going to dessert, and that's the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
I've got to mention, Russ Stevens wants the Boston Celtics to play so badly that he turned from the Boston Red Sox, to watching WNBA.
I
I
know.
watched I watched 2/3 of a WNBA playoff game last night instead of the Red Sox, who I'm done with, and was happy I did it. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You
Totally
need
enjoyed.
basketball. You need basketball.
Totally enjoyable experience. Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty bleak right now. We got a baseball team that's in shambles. We have a football team that feels like it's a rebuild. We got a hockey team that's on its last fumes, right?
Oh, you'll be happy to hear the Krejci fans. Montgomery says the line will be Pasternak, Hall, and Krejci. Krejci is
I'm all over that. I'm
a
signing
thorn
up for that,
between
but,
two roses.
I mean,
there.
guys,
He'll
the team
get
in
points
town,
like crazy.
the team in town, the number one team in town is the Celtics, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
not even close. It's not even close.
It's not, but for us, we'll jump right on the winners band.
Oh my God.
I know, and Joe's right. You know, you can't move the dial. You know how that is. It just, you can't move the dial that much.
No, not the number one popular team, but the number, like the best team in town by far right now is the Boston Celtics.
The team with the
that will
best
get
chance for a championship by far.
The team that will get the most attention will be the Boston Celtics.
I just think I'm so happy. I was a little on the fence in this KD stuff at the beginning, and then he threw his handpicked coach under the bus, which was horrible, right? And makes a ridiculous demand a week and a half ago, and I was done. And I am so relieved at this point in time that that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and that ridiculous trade that the Nets tried to push out in the media there, that would have been great for the Nets, rotten for the Celtics all the way around. Get KD and nothing.
I have to be honest. Woj and Sham this summer,
they got sucked
really
in
had
there.
bad summers.
They did.
Throwing shit out there.
They did.
That was crap.
Good point.
I usually respect them, and they're great resources, but they were just throwing shit for clickbait.
Yeah, they got used by the Nets in a pretty profound way. It was so obvious.
No way the Celtics would ever have done even half that trade. It wouldn't have been smart in any way, shape, or manner.
Brad Stevens did not acquire Brogdon and Gallinari to all of a sudden flip Brown for Durant. There's not a chance. He watched Durant play in those playoffs. Durant 2 feet slower.
He's 34 now. He'll be 35 at the start of next season.
He plays no
He
defense.
doesn't play defense anymore. He used to be a great defender. I'll give him that. But he doesn't defend anymore. No. He just runs between the two, foul lines now.
Look, I'm just relieved. We get our team back, plus another couple of players. We love the coach. He's going to have to go into the lab and do a lot of experimenting with lineups. Like, we're going to have to be willing to look at 25 games up front of him screwing around with lineups, because he's going to need to figure out what his combinations are, and we have to be okay with it. They've got to be in it for a marathon next year. This cannot be a sprint. It has to be all about what does this team look like starting the playoffs? Are they healthy? Do they have a good rotation? And do they have energy left in their system?
But did you see they guaranteed Gallinari, supposedly in the contract negotiations, 20 minutes a game?
Fine. He should be playing 20 minutes a game.
Fine. In the regular season, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look, when D. White came in January, we were an incredible regular season team the rest of the way. Yep. Now you add Brogdon and Gallinari. This team, it would be disappointing if they won under 60 games.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. You figure, you preface everything in the NBA if they're healthy, right? Yeah. And if things go normally, their net plus minus, right? Their net rating from January 20th on last year, if you prorated that to the number of wins you'd expect, it was a 70-win team.
Jesus. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
That's how well they played.
With these guys and the expanded rotation now, because Grant Williams and Pritchard is still there, Al Horford, they're all still there. Yeah. Tatum will only have to play about 38 minutes a game instead of 46.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
he'll still play a lot of minutes. He's a horse.
Yeah, but I'm putting a cap on Brown and Tatum's minutes at 35.
Yeah.
I'm putting a cap on Smart's minutes at like 30 to 32. I'm putting a cap on Al's minutes, average minutes, like
And Rob
25 to 27.
If that.
Rob Williams, the
20.
same. I am going down the line, and I'm basically saying we're going to play Gallo 20 to 25. We're going to play Brogdon 25. We're going to get Grant Williams 25 minutes. Take it easy on these guys.
And we're gonna lose a couple of games every once in a while.
Fine.
No, fine. Once
You
they
don't
get
have to win 65 games.
They got to get a rotation down for that's 1 through 10 now instead of 1
That's
through
right.
7.
And
That's
just
exactly right,
give
Joe.
Rob Williams like a month off.
Yeah, Peyton Pritchard is the 10th man on this team.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even contemplate Sam Hauser playing, he could get some minutes. Use all of them. Just keep using all of these freaking guys all year long.
Cornetto get 3 to 5 minutes a game. We'll try to,
right.
Give him 5 to 10 every game.
Exactly.
Sub Al and give him reps. The more he plays, the better he'll get.
Oh, I don't need Al to play only the last 10 games of the season, to be honest with you, and just save him for the playoffs.
I would start him. I'd take him out at the 4-minute mark every night. I'd say, Al, thank you for your 4 minutes. We will see you with 6 minutes left in the half.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll play you 6. And then we'll play you 6 in the third quarter. And we'll play you 6 in the fourth quarter. There's your 26 minutes.
That's it. Yeah. Al, and he was incredible. I mean, to get what they got out of Al Horford
was fantastic.
I mean, we're talking about bad deals that the Red Sox made. What an incredible deal! Al Horford was playing. He was playing like a max player at some point during.
Yeah, it's been great.
I mean,
can't wait. Yeah, you're right, Scotty. I cannot wait for these guys to start, and we just have to not get so excited and bummed when they lose games. They're now one of those teams where it's fine if they lose games. This is not about proving their mettle anymore. This is about setting themselves up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
It feels like 83 going into 84.
Oh, wow.
It does feel
really way down in the alley now.
Wow. We were so anxious for that season. We knew they were going to be really good. We knew there were going to be a lot of wipeouts, and we know it just feels like that. Look, they've graduated to they should win a title. Anything less this year is unacceptable.
Well, yeah.
There's some big comp out there in the West and in the East. Getting through the East is tough. Just like
you have to look at the circumstances, Scotty. If they remain healthy and they're in good shape starting the playoffs, I'd be bummed if they didn't win a title. Yes, but we know that teams don't stay healthy.
Brogdon's a missing piece. Brogdon is so good that he puts you over the top.
I think. I mean, he has the potential.
Put too much on his shoulders, Scotty.
Yeah, no, I think he puts you on top by a great amount. I think he's worth one game in every playoff round.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I actually think the ability to play him 25 minutes a night to 30 when needed and you got to keep him healthy as another playmaker. Really and Brad told us this at the beginning of the offseason. It's like, we need more playmakers and we need better shooting.
Yeah.
Because what he realized in the finals was he only had 3 playmakers. Brown, Tatum, and Smart were the only guys who could actually create a play and initiate a play in the offense. And Brown was turning it over a lot, and Smart can be a little fluky, and Tatum ran out of gas. You needed another guy like that.
Smart ran out of gas in the Heat series. He was just bringing it. As soon as he got across half court, he would shove it in Tatum's gut and say, "That's it, I'm done," and go sit on the bench.
They didn't have anything left. So now you throw a fourth. This is a guy who should win. If he stays healthy, he should win the 6th Player of the Year award. He's right in the mix. He's a top 5, 6 Player of the Year award candidate.
He's a starting caliber player, going to be coming off the bench.
100%. 6'5".
This is a team like that we loved in the 80s. These really, they're all personalities.
Right.
We know them. We like all of them.
Yep.
Personally, this team is going to capture the heart of
I hope so. I hope there's no bull crap and drama and stuff. Everyone's just got Ime's the perfect coach for these guys.
The key thing is it's going to be Rob Williams' health.
I totally agree.
That's missing. If he's healthy, and during the course of the season and the playoffs,
and he never has been. So I don't.
He's
think
a game changer, though. Him. I mean, he's a game changer. He's the guy who the other teams can't deal with.
Yeah.
They
I
can't deal
can't
with
wait.
it.
Now you're getting me excited. I'm not going to watch WNBA excited, but you'd have to pay me.
The exhibition
hourly
games,
rate.
maybe.
No, I
though.
have to say that Candace Parker is a really, really good basketball player. That's why I was watching last night. I'm like, oh my God, she's a really good basketball player.
Could she play in the NBA?
No, she's 6'4". She can't. I mean, she couldn't play in the NBA, but and then she goes on and she holds her own with Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith on the NBA show. That's
she's
pretty
very good at that. Yeah,
I got to tell you, someone who can do both of those things really, really well, that's an impressive human being.
Yeah, I always forget that she's still a player. Yeah, and then Sue Bird and the other one that with Tarazi, they've been around forever.
They've been around forever. So
my God. Well, that's our show for tonight. That was fun, boys. I thank everyone behind the scenes. Ian, and welcome to Adam, who's now taking over
Adam.
for Ian. I want to thank, of course, the fellas. Please check us out on Spotify. We've got a number of people subscribing, so you have to do it this week. It's important to the national security, actually. And we want to make sure everybody's safe in the country. So sign up for the Grandstanders on Spotify. We'll be back next week at 6 o'clock on Wednesday night for another show. Have a great week. My name is Scott Kerman.